have breaking news right now. LAPD in pursuit of a person with a gun, and SkyCal is live over Highland Park. We go over to Mike Rogers at the desk. And Mike, what do you know?
Well, Pat, first thing I want to point out, that front right tire is gone and the car is sparking. You can see the really hot brake pads right there on that front right tire. See, thanks, John, for zooming in on us. So this is a weird one. This started out with a traffic stop. LAPD actually got the car to stop. A woman was driving it first. From what we understand, the woman then got out, we believe on the orders of LAPD. While she was out of the car, a man in the passenger seat jumped over into the driver's seat and took off. You even see that front left tire too, Pat, I think is also really hot. So
it's wobbling.
Yeah, so he may lose both tires here, which would be great news for the LAPD because that'd finally get him to stop. But it is dark down there. We do see the glow of the front left tire. So yeah, going really fast. You see the spark as he goes over there. It's supposed to be a man with a gun as well. They believe that there is a gun inside. They saw him reaching for the dashboard or under the seat rather during the traffic stop, and something that made those officers think that this guy has a gun because when they took off, that's what they immediately started to call it out as.
So I was going to ask you, Mike, is this the original want? They knew this person had a gun, or was it something else?
Yeah, what the original traffic stop was for was unclear. I played the radio traffic back and it looks like...
trying to stop, maybe?
Yeah, Avenue 53 in Lincoln here. This is in the Highland Park area. So I don't know what the original stop was for, Pat. I did go back and listen as he's weaving all over the road here. That car just doesn't have much left in it. That wheel's smoking. There you see on the front. Look at that. Sparks coming out.
Oh, yeah.
He's not going to have anywhere to go. Now, LAPD is also concerned, Pat, because we've been listening. They think there's a friendly to this suspect in the area. They've had a Scion that's been kind of going around the same place as the suspect at high rates of speed. So they've been warning about that. And we'll see what he does here, but I mean, there's very little control over this car anymore.
Yeah, well, look at that. Came very close to those cars on the other side of the street. Now, there's a lot of smoke coming out of this vehicle right now, Mike, and yeah, you're right. Not just driving erratically, probably because that's the only way they can maneuver this vehicle.
Well, yeah, and you know, our director Mike brings up a good point. The brakes may be stuck because there's no reason for them to be so hot like that. He's not, you know, unless he's holding them down while simultaneously hitting the gas. You know what I mean? Like, we're not going fast enough to really slam on the brakes and cause that kind of heat off of those brakes unless the brakes are stuck down or he's holding them down. But it's a very weird situation.
And there's a lot of movement. You noticed him going back and forth. At one point, I thought he had both his hands off the wheel out the window. But now he's driving and he's looking around very erratically.
Right. And it's got to be hard to control that car. I mean, you've already got one tire that's missing. Clearly, something's going on with the left tire because it's glowing like a Christmas tree. And we've not really seen speeds get any higher than like 30 miles an hour.
And again, as we've been witnessing here, it's going back and forth, it's wobbling. They obviously, though, would not try something at this point because of the possibility that this person has a gun, right? They believe he has a gun.
Right.
If that's the case, they could have put out spike strips or just even performed a pit maneuver on this vehicle to stop it because it's practically...
I mean, we're definitely
almost undrivable right now.
Yeah, and we're definitely at speeds low enough to do a pit maneuver. But you're right, Pat. If they believe this person has a gun, that really makes them hesitant to do some of those pit maneuvers or other types of actions that they would normally do during a chase. Because if they spin him around and he gets in front of them, they don't want him to be in the line of fire with him. But he obviously does not have control over this car. I mean, making those turns has been difficult. And
that's kind of scary. Notice how much smoke is coming out of the back of that vehicle now. Plus, there are other cars parked on either side of that street.
Right.
And that's problematic because this person has just, as you said, they don't have really control of this vehicle. That car seems to be doing what it wants to do simply because it's impaired because of the damage done to it. This is pretty incredible. More sparks coming out the bottom of that car. Look at the tires.
A lot of sparks. And I can't tell. So the rubber looks like it's still on that one a little bit, Pat. That front right tire, we can see it wobbling around there. But yeah, see, look, and then all of a sudden the tire just kind of stops. And he's okay. So you just saw it in his left hand. I was just listening to the radio traffic. He's holding out a bag of, they think, are narcotics. So they've said it's in his left hand, and I just saw him put his left hand out the window. Oh, the windshield wipers are on now too. There's a lot going on here. But he's got, see it in his left hand there, that baggie?
He's certainly holding something, which doesn't help him how he's maneuvering this car, or I should say how that car is maneuvering him right now.
Yeah.
Let's go back to the woman. At first we thought a woman was driving this car, and could have been, but apparently she jumped out and he jumped in.
Yeah, so she was the initial driver when they made the traffic stop. And when I was listening to it, it sounds like they ordered her out of the vehicle. She complied. And when that happened, then he jumped in the driver's seat and took off with it. So it's unclear what her role is, or if she's in custody, or where they've got her right now. But obviously, she got out of the car during the traffic stop, what I believe was at their request, and then he jumped in, and that tire is just so hot.
You know what's concerns me as well is Mike. I mean, when you see something like this, that car could possibly, I mean, it could spark enough to even catch on fire.
Oh, absolutely. And, especially the brake pads are already so hot like that. You think of the amount of heat that's under there, and then you add sparks to it as well. That's obviously not a good thing to do. I mean, I'm sure when this comes out, they'll have the fire department at least come look at the brakes if it doesn't cool down the way it's supposed to. But, just so many sparks coming out of the bottom of it, and you wonder what's the we always try to say this, but what's the motive of this person? Like, how do they think this is going to end? They can't even get to a high enough speed to try to get away by any stretch of the imagination. You got a bunch of LAPD units behind them. You got a helicopter overhead. They're very clearly, this is not going to end the way they want it to. So you just wonder why they don't pull over.
And even if they threw something out of the window, whether it's narcotics or whatever it is, they could retrieve it.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure, can't tell exactly from this picture, but I'm sure they're right behind this vehicle.
Yeah,
I see them now.
Yeah,
okay.
You've got them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, at least 6 units, code 3. They've requested additionals because the fact that he is allegedly armed. And every now and again, Pat, too, we see a lot of smoke start to come out of the side. So it makes me wonder how long this car is going to be able to put up with this. You see, look at it, watch the tire spin. Look, so it's obviously front wheel drive. So he hits the gas, and then, all right, now we're stopped. All that smoke coming out of the car. Is he going to give up? What's he going to try to do? Right here at Fayette and Neva Place in the Highland
Park. And they are lighting
area.
him up
Yeah.
with
which makes it hard to see for them. They've got all that smoke pouring out. I mean, you've got the helicopter overhead that's going to give them stuff, but that car is smoking a lot. This guy should probably get out before
it does
catches
catch
on fire.
Exactly.
And there he is. He's
moving around.
Yeah, like you were saying, is very, very fidgety, which is obviously not what the LAPD wants because, again, they believe that he has a gun. So the more that he's moving around in there, the more uncomfortable that's going to make those officers that are trying to take him into custody.
And if he comes out even with something in his hand that it is possibly, it could be anything, but it also could be misinterpreted for anything as well, for a gun, for example, which does not bode well at all. And I'm just really a bit surprised, Mike, that this person is still in this car.
See him and he's leaning around over there. To see that, he was just leaning right all the way over the passenger seat. The helicopter is saying they're having a hard time seeing him because of the smoke, as well as the just that window. It's a very kind of narrow window to see through, but he is still moving around.
But we could see him moving around.
Yeah, and I can't tell if he's trying to get the car back in gear or what he's doing in there, but at least some of the smoke is starting to subside just a little bit. I'm sure they're going to roll the fire department out here to be on standby for this. The best thing this guy can do is call it a day and come out of the car, but he just does not seem compliant to do that. And I think, door's open now. Oh, closed. So we'll see if we're going to play that game of the door open, door closed situation. But, it was the car that gave up. It wasn't the suspect that gave up. I think that car finally just stopped moving for him.
Yeah, was not drivable anymore.
Yeah, he came around that corner and you saw him hit the gas, and it looks like it's front wheel drive. So he did that, and that front right tire is just rim. So we just watched the rims just go and go and go and go, and then he finally just kind of gave up. So I don't know if the car failed altogether or if he just realized it's no longer drivable. He's rolling the driver's side window is rolling down.
Is it possibility? I mean, they could, I guess, use less than lethal force only because they wouldn't have to be that close.
Yeah, they could. So the LAPD doesn't generally, so we'll see the sheriff's department, they have pepper balls in some of the patrol cars that they can shoot in. Mm-hmm. I don't believe that LAPD has pepper balls. So then your other alternative is maybe a 40 millimeter kind of less lethal round. That would probably, that would be a little bit more difficult just because you're trying to shoot that through a window. Generally, they try to hit people in the navel area with that. That's not always feasible in a situation like this. So they may be content to just kind of wait him out. Because of the fact that he is armed, if this goes on for too long, there's a chance we could see Metropolitan Division come out, that's SWAT or K9 or
Bearcats,
and just block him in and try to play it that way. So it just is going to depend on how long this guy wants to make this go on. But obviously he knows that those cops aren't going well. I mean, look at all those lights that are shining on that car.
Absolutely. You know what? And again, just want to establish the fact that, Mike, you don't think that this car can move.
Yeah.
Otherwise, because he's not at a dead end, is he?
No, I don't believe so. No.
Okay.
And the way that, just the way we came around that corner, that car really, really looked like it was struggling. So that front right tire, this is a video from earlier on the right side of your screen, Avenue 53 in York, when we kind of first got there. And you can see from that video the hot tires on the brakes there on both sides. The passenger side front tire, they kept saying it was damaged somehow. I don't know how that got damaged. They didn't do spikes, so I don't know how that got damaged. So. But yeah, at some point the rubber start was kind of hanging on to that passenger tire, the front right tire, and then eventually it fell off. So when he made that final turn right where he is now, when I saw it, it was just all metal. So you could just see it just spinning and spinning and spinning. And he lost his momentum, and I don't think it could go much further. And the car, I think, is just starting to kind of give up. And you saw the intense amount of smoke that was coming out originally. It's kind of since stopped. Yeah, I mean, And
it's still smoking. I mean, it's just, you can imagine the smell. Well, you can imagine the neighborhood there at York Boulevard and N Avenue, 57 in Highland Park?
I think so, yeah. And it was, the other thing too, Pat, is you've got to think how loud that is.
Exactly.
Inside of that car. I mean, that has got to be so, so loud when that was going on. I mean, obviously this person potentially under the influence, they were saying he's got narcotics in his hand and that bag that he was waving out the left window. So that's likely at play. They believe there's a firearm at play. So there's a lot going on here, and they may just be content to kind of let this guy see what he's going to do, and if not, bring in Metro.
The woman, do we know if she's in custody?
We don't. They've been so focused on the driver. Oh, look, the car's moving. Here we go.
Well, see, it can.
There it is. So it can move. I wonder if it needed to cool down enough, or if he just tried again and realized we can go. But here we are on the move again on Fayette and Neva Place in Highland Park, as this guy who briefly stopped has, maybe 2.5 good tires, is back on the move now.
And it's still wobbling. It's still, you can tell he doesn't have good control of that car. And it does make you wonder, Mike, it's on the rims, right? All four? I mean,
no, just that, at least the front right. I believe the front left is also, look at, so
still smoking.
See all that damage on the passenger side?
Oh, big time.
We had heard that he was they called it a minor traffic collision. So after he took off, he had crashed into something. They called it minor and he kept moving, but I wonder if that was enough to cause the damage to that front right tire.
Well, that's enough damage on that passenger side. That looks pretty, pretty big.
Yeah.
Yeah, look at that.
And they're calling, okay, so now I don't know what happened. Sorry, I'm just listening to something. Oh, came very, okay, so they're gonna call him now also assault with a deadly weapon on a police officer. So when he made that turn, apparently there were they're repeating it now. There were 4 officers in that patrol car. They say he came close enough to that patrol car that they're now also calling this ADW, assault with a deadly weapon on a police officer. So you add that to the man with the gun, felony evading, assault with a deadly weapon on a police officer. As this continues, we're obviously just racking up the charges.
Yeah, I was going to say, and there's even more to add on there in terms of not the danger even in a residential area.
Yeah.
And my goodness, the noise, you can just imagine the neighbors or people that are hearing all of this. It almost looks like he wants to stop again. He's been in this area primarily. I wonder if that's, Mike, because either he knows it or it's because he can't really go that much further.
Yeah, I'm going to go back and look, Pat, where we started this. We started this fairly, I want to say it was like Figueroa and San Fernando. So that's essentially by the 5 and the 110 split, just east of Dodger Stadium. And then we came, sorry, I'm just listening to some more. Yeah, so they're concerned that there are friendlies to this person. So they keep calling out vehicle descriptions. This is the second time I've heard them do it, where they say that there are people that have been close to this pursuit continuously following it. So they're worried that they may know this person. So officers are kind of keeping an eye on that. But yeah, it started over almost in the Cypress Park area, San Fernando and Figueroa, and then came kind of to the northeast up into the Highland Park, almost into South Pasadena, but didn't quite get over there. And we've been in the Highland Park area, and now here we are stopped again at Piedmont and Sumter.
So you think that when they believe that there are some friendlies following this person, we believe he possibly could have drugs in the vehicle?
Yeah.
I mean, what does that say to you? Other, possible drug trafficking involved or gang activity?
Yeah,
when you think about people really, having the nerve, if you will, to know that they are being cited, or that, law enforcement knows that they're there.
Right. Yeah, I would say either gang activity or, we've seen time and again where they and he's got his hands out the window again, maybe yelling at the officers. But where we've seen this, where they try to, you know, swap vehicles or jump in a friend's car or something like that. So I don't know if that's what LAPD is worried about, although usually it's, I mean, we're on the move again, but usually that's a little bit more coordinated and not so much just following behind. So LAPD, the helicopter, will monitor that. The units in the rear of the pursuit will also keep an eye on who's with them. They're the ones that are likely calling this out, saying, hey, you know, this car's followed us for the last several blocks as we've been doing this chase. You know, just kind of be aware. So it doesn't sound like they're trying to stop any of those people, but they're cognizant of the fact that there are people that are following the chase that they think may know the suspect.
And have you noticed any more law enforcement that have joined this pursuit, or does it seem to be about the same amount of vehicles? They just know that whatever this person does, they can't go very far. Even though they're driving now and they're stopping, there's not a lot of distance that they can make in this car.
No, for sure. And I think, Pat, I thought I heard 5 units that were authorized in the chase. I think we've got more than that now back there. You know, and even the units that are not necessarily authorized to be in the chase, they're still in the area in case they've got to set up a perimeter. But look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we've got 7 right here, and I'm almost positive there are more around the block, kind of waiting to see if they need to jump into place for a perimeter, or if he runs on foot, or, you know, the different circumstances that can happen following a pursuit.
Is there any way we can see, you know, in front of this vehicle, if there are law enforcement, say, not close by, not close in front, because we know they can put themselves in a line of danger if that person does have a gun, but is there, you know, any way we can tell that there's maybe at the other end of the street?
Yeah, John, if you can come out a little bit just to the end of the street that he's sitting on, we just want to see just listening. Okay, so we're very near the registered owner's home of this car. I just heard that come out on the radio as well. So yeah, John's looking down the street. You've got some civilian traffic there as well. Didn't see any officers kind of immediately in that area, but now that they are running the plate, they're giving that information to the officer. So to your point earlier, Pat, certainly this is a neighborhood that he appears to be familiar with. Again, we want to point out it is believed to be the registered owner's address. We don't know that the person driving the car is the registered owner, but one would lead you to believe if we're on very nearby this person's registered owner's home, he probably knows the area as well.
And very suspicious, as we talked about in the beginning. There's a mystery woman that is somehow involved in this, and we don't know where she is. She could be apprehended or not.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we do know that there is just one person in this car at this time, and that's the driver, who does not want to give up, who is still trying to drive a damaged
very damaged car at best. Seems to be making some kind of gestures, or probably, you know, signaling to police. We saw him looking or driving very erratically and moving around in a very agitated fashion inside the vehicle. So I'm sure the officers are mindful of that as well. Oh, yeah.
That this person could, you know, be inebriated, or if that's the correct word to use here.
Yeah,
under the influence of something.
Intoxicated or something. Yeah, I mean, and they had mentioned that fact that they believed, and we saw it a little bit earlier. I don't see it now, but we had seen a little bit earlier. He had that baggie in his hand, and the police had believed that was a bag of narcotics that he had in there. So don't know where that went. I don't necessarily see it in his hand right now, but that was enough for them to understand that he may potentially also be under the influence, also possibly armed. And whatever else is going on with this driver, who appears to be kind of, you see the headlights go high beam every now and again. I'm not sure what he's doing with those, but just indicative of a person who is acting erratically inside of this car, even when it is stopped. We've seen him move all over the inside of the car, kind of back and forth. It sounds like, okay, so they are trying to prevent him from going further down the street. So to your question, Pat, there are officers at the end of the street now that are going to try to do some things to make sure that this person doesn't go down the street any further. They're asking the officers essentially, and we'll see it, and he can see it too, so I don't think I'm giving anything tactical away, but they're asking those officers to set up spike strips at the end of the road. So they want him to set up spikes, but get out of the way.
Right. Because
now they're saying ADW on a police officer, because they accuse him of trying to hit those officers as he was coming around the corner. So they don't want to put the officers in harm's way. Do we just toss? Oh, I thought he looked like he may have thrown something. I wasn't sure if there's keys or not. The headlights are still on.
Well, he's sticking his, is that his arm or
it's his left? Yeah, it's his left arm that he's just kind of dangling out the window. You see that? He's like, looks like he grabs stuff from inside and then just kind of sprinkles it out. I don't know what he's taking out of the car there, but it's kind of strange.
Well, you know, I wonder, the neighbors, I haven't really noticed anybody coming outside. Maybe they know better, or they're getting some kind of directive to stay in. But because we know that they know where this car is, the address that it's registered to, you know, you almost think that somebody might try to run out and talk to this person. But then again,
And you do have
okay, there are a couple of people.
Yeah, sitting there on the grass. Now we don't know. And John, if you can pull out and then go down the line of cop cars a little bit. One of the cars I think that they were referencing that was following them was kind of parked
Behind?
Yeah. So see, I think one of those ones that they were talking about right here that are parked like, you know, not in a parking spot that have their lights on. Those may have been a couple of the ones that they said were kind of following it. So I don't know if that's the people that are standing on the sidewalk or where those people went, but this guy, you know, it's unclear at this point. You know, we thought the car was disabled, but he was able to move it. I don't know if that's still the case here, but at the moment he is content with just kind of sitting here right outside of Piedmont Park.
And as you mentioned, though, even if he were to move the vehicle, there are officers on the other end of the street prepared to either do a spike strip or just letting him know that, hey, we're here and you don't have anywhere else to go.
Yeah.
And as you mentioned, they want to be out of harm's way with those spike strips that, you know, they put themselves in danger no matter where they lay one in the first place.
Yeah.
But this is particularly concerning because of even how erratically the guy was driving the car in the first place.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And the fact that he could have a weapon.
Could have a weapon, just doesn't seem to have any rhyme or reason to what he's doing, acting erratically. I mean, those are all things, the reason why we haven't seen these patrol officers from Northeast make any kind of approach on the car. I mean, certainly they're giving him directions. It looks like an officer back there is trying to wave kind of the public away. There may be a car that has come down the road here. But so, you know, it's a weird kind of situation that you're in, and it's just going to be how long they want to play this out. At some point, some command officer, whether it be the captain or whoever is the incident commander back at the station, is going to have to make a decision. How do we want to play this? Do we want to bring out SWAT? Do we want to bring out Metro? What do we want to do here to kind of bring this to an end? Do we want to bring out K9? The fact that the want is man with a gun and assault with a deadly weapon on a police officer, I would be surprised if this guy doesn't come out. The only other option, in my opinion, they would likely bring out SWAT.
Yeah, and have the Bearcat.
And have the Bearcats block him in, have protection, and just kind of take that route with it. I don't see any other world where patrol goes up and gets him. I don't see a world where just K9 comes out. I think that if he stays in the car and doesn't surrender because of what he's wanted for, I think this would likely turn into a SWAT situation.
And that, of course, you know, we're talking about resources.
Oh, yeah, and that's ours.
That are going to be absolutely, that would, because they won't come right away. From when I usually don't see a Bearcat, they'd have to call a little earlier because it still takes time to find even one close enough, right? You would probably know that.
Yeah, so they're at Metropolitan Division. LAPD is different than some of our other agencies. The Sheriff's Department actually places Bearcats at their stations throughout the county.
But LAPD doesn't always do that.
Yeah, they don't. They keep theirs at Metropolitan Division, which is near downtown. So, but first you have to activate Metropolitan Division. You have to activate SWAT. They'll come to the Metropolitan Division, and then they'll all roll out together. So that's that takes time. That's not a quick thing. And then you have to wait for that decision to even be made. You know, again, some command staff somewhere is evaluating this right now because the guy has kind of come and gone and stopped. We'll see if he stays here and really truly doesn't move anymore. Then they may make that decision to request Metropolitan Division. But it's unclear if that call's been made already or what. But I'm sure there are conversations with command staff happening right now about that.
All right, and as we can see, we don't see him moving around much anymore. We thought he was ready to get out of the vehicle. Well, now I just saw his hand again, but now he's retreated back, I guess, just behind the wheel, and seems to be content to just sit there for who knows how long.
Yeah.
Until either he decides to get out of the vehicle, and that has to be the case unless we talked about them sending in canines possibly, but I mean, he could roll the window up for sure.
Yeah, I think at this point.
He doesn't get out on his own.
Exactly. I think you're right, Pat. I think he gets out on his own or eventually this turns into SWAT. So I think that's kind of where we're at. But here's our hands. Now, both of them out the window, but obviously we know the door works. We saw him pop it open that one time and then slam it closed really quickly. So it's not like he can't get out. But it's hard to tell what the goal here is of this guy and how long he's going to continue to kind of play this game. But he's the one ultimately that can make this come to an end. I don't see a world where LAPD comes in and yanks him out or does anything like that just simply because of the things that he is wanted for. There you see they've already set up crime tape back there. They've moved that public out of the way there that was standing on the grass right next to Piedmont Park. We are in the Highland Park area, and we know that this person's or the registered owner of this car comes back to an address very near where we are at right now. So we talk about, suspects usually knowing the area. We talk about going to familiar places and all of those types of things, and that appears what this person has done. And we want to remind you, the car is very, very damaged. That front right tire is gone. It is on metal. There is damage to the front right passenger door as well. It's unclear at this point if the car can move. We had thought that at a point it was disabled, but then we saw him kind of going again with it. So he's kind of gone and stopped and gone and stopped. For a minute, he was stopped further back where this park is, but then started driving once again. Now, for the last several minutes, we have just seen him in there kind of with his hands. He brings them out the window. It looked for a second like he was maybe trying to clean something out. We very briefly saw the door open and then close again. The car, though, has been smoking the whole time. I can tell you earlier when he stopped in that neighborhood, the car was smoking much more significantly than it is right now. Right now, it is still smoking, but not nearly as badly. The moment that he stopped for the first time and then he gets back and starts driving off, when he made that turn off that street, that's when LAPD believes he at least tried or came very close to hitting 4 LAPD officers, which then upped the want to assault with a deadly weapon on a police officer. So this all started with a traffic stop. There was a female driver in the front seat at first. She got out, we believe, at the order of those LAPD officers. And then while that was happening, that's when the passenger jumped into the driver's seat and took off. We are now joined by Susie's son, Juan Fernandez, for KCAL News at 10.
Mike, thank you so much. This is breaking news here on KCAL News at 10. Pursuit of a person with a gun. This is in Highland Park, and it stopped many times, going again, off and on again, and almost taunting police officers. As Mike was talking about, this person has been chased by police for a very long time. On the right side of your screen, you can see when that car was sparking. 2.5 tires, we believe, left on this car right now. But again, that person going and stopping, going and stopping again.
Indeed, Susie. And again, this is a man that's considered very dangerous, a pursuit of a person with a gun. Our Mike Rogers on the desk here. Mike, can you fill in our viewers here on KCAL News at 10 how this pursuit began? Yeah,
so we know that Northeast officers made a stop on this at San Fernando Road and Figueroa. And when they did that, there was a woman that was driving the car. Now, we understand from listening to the radio traffic, the woman got out of the car. I believe, based on what I listened, she was ordered out of the car by LAPD officers, and it sounds like she complied with that. During that interaction, sorry, I'm just listening to the radio. Right? Yeah, sorry. So during that portion, when the woman was getting out of the driver's seat, a male passenger jumped over and got into the driver's seat and took off. So you heard that on the radio. You heard him say he's taking off, he's taking off. Then they got into a pursuit. Now, it's unclear what the original traffic stop was for. They didn't call that out when they were making the traffic stop. We heard them run the plate, and then we heard them say, the unit was making the traffic stop. Then when they started chasing it, they started calling him a man with a gun. We heard them reference that they was digging around, they believe trying to get into the glove box, or potentially under the seat. It's unclear if officers actually saw a gun when they approached the car and ordered that stop, or if that's just kind of what they were surmising.
Looks like he's smoking now, Mike.
Yeah. So, and that's the other part of it. So then during the chase, he kept waving and I don't know what he's smoking. I mean, it looks like maybe a cigarette, but during the chase, we know he was holding a baggie out of the window. And on the radio, we saw it with our eyes, and then on the radio, LAPD officers believed it was a bag of narcotics. We don't know what kind of narcotics it was. We can tell you his behavior has been pretty erratic during this. If he is getting more under the influence right now, that is certainly not going to help the situation, and have him have a clear mind to say, oh my gosh, what am I doing? I need to get out of the car. So then as we're driving, the brakes were hot the entire time on the front of the car. We believe this is a front wheel drive because as he came around one of the turns, he lost the rubber on his tire, and we could see the metal just spinning. And spinning and spinning and spinning as he came. We thought that was going to bring the chase to an end. It didn't. He kept going. Then after he stops for a long time, he gets back in the car, or didn't even got out. He opened the door and closed it. Then he takes off, comes around the corner. 4 officers are there. They think he gets too close to them. They call that assault with a deadly weapon on an officer.
And Mike, do we know how he lost that tire?
So we believe there was before we got overhead, we believe there was a collision because we heard them reference a minor collision, and then when we were on the passenger side, we could see damage to the passenger side door, and they were also saying the front tire was damaged. So honestly, probably the best thing that happened is when he first took off, he bumped into something, and it was enough to cause the damage to the tire.
Well, Mike, we were talking about how this guy was stopping and going and stopping and going. They've actually got officers parked at the end of the street now to prevent that from happening again?
So we are in the Highland Park area, right on Piedmont, right next to Piedmont Park and Sumter. And then right at the end of that street, John, and I don't know if we can take a look at it really quick, in front of the suspect vehicle, they have asked officers to put out spike strips. Now, certainly he can see it there, but it's all the way down at the end of the street, and it's unclear if they've actually done it. So we've got the unit, so we've got the unit that's blocking traffic, and I can't tell if they've actually got okay, so right up in the crosswalk, John, if you pan up just a little bit right there. So see him on that white strip? That's where you can see the black strip along the white strip. That's where the spike strips look like they're laying right there. Yep, see them?
Oh, I see them. Yeah, Mike, right there.
So that's where they're at. They've asked the officers to lay them out and get away because they obviously don't want them in his line of fire if he comes barreling down the road. We go back to the car. We don't know what kind of condition the car is in. We know it's not good, but we don't know if it's still drivable. That's where we've kind of been, because when we thought it wasn't drivable, he hit the gas and kept going.
Yeah, 2-3 times already.
Yeah.
Now, Mike, you were saying earlier that this car is now in the area closest to where the car is registered at. Is that right?
Yeah, so they ran the plate. The registered owner's address is in this area, and I don't want to give it away specifically, but it is very, very near where we are right now. So they are aware of that. I don't know, I haven't heard if they are sending any officers over there to kind of be in that area to see if, they can talk to somebody who may know this person. And we also, of course, want to be clear, just because the registered owner is over there, we don't know that the driver is the registered owner. So there's that caveat as well, but it leads you to believe that this guy knows the area.
And Mike, a person with a gun, that certainly, raises a lot of different safety issues for both officers and the public when they're chasing someone like this. We don't know if it's actually true, but, they're going to treat it like it is true. A person with a gun, it's a different protocol, isn't it, for the LAPD when a person has a gun. For example, a pit maneuver might be a little bit more difficult, or they might not even do it because of the fact that person could get turned around and shoot at them.
Yeah, and you even could tell that they were hesitant to do the spikes at the end of the road. Even when that airship was saying, let's do the spikes, it was, let's do the spikes, but then get out of there. Don't be directly in that line. And certainly we were at speeds absolutely low enough to conduct a pit maneuver and didn't. And again, that is because they don't want to take that risk. They think he's got a gun. They don't want to spin him around and put him right in the line of fire of those officers.
And now we're looking, Mike, at basically what was once a passenger in a car. Now the driver of the car that has led police on a wild pursuit here, causing sparks and smoke, driving erratically through the area. Here we go again, right side of your screen. This was not within the last hour or so, what we saw here. And look at that, Susie. You can almost see the red glow of the disc brakes. Is that what that is, Mike? You see that red glow in that front tire there? Just incredible, the amount of sparks it gives off. And now that same guy is stuck inside the car, smoking something, right? And consistently looking back. I think he's wondering whether or not they're going to approach the car or not. But here he sits, and this is now a pursuit standoff.
Yeah.
And that's what was so weird, you guys. We believe that the car is front-wheel drive, but also the brakes were on at the same time. So we don't know, were the brakes stuck? Was he pushing the brakes and the gas at the same time? But definitely, the brakes were so hot while they were driving, and that is what is kind of weird, because we only usually see the brakes really, really hot when speeds are really, really high, right? When we see the brakes get really hot like that, it's usually because they're flying down the road and then they hit the brakes all of a sudden, and they do that repeatedly. We never reached, as far as I could tell, higher than like 35 miles an hour. So that then leads you to believe that there's potential that either the brakes were malfunctioning or he was holding the brakes and pushing the gas at the same time, which really doesn't make any sense. But if he's under the influence or having some other kind of issue, then maybe that's what was happening. I did notice the window is back up, though. He had rolled the window down. Oh, now he's out the back window, but the front window is rolled up.
I'm wondering if he was doing that maybe to create some sort of smoke screen to kind of like basically have the officers not be able to see what was happening in front of them. But Mike, in this case, it was so hot that those brakes started glowing, which is incredible. We saw it there.
Well, yeah, and it didn't do him any good, because I think, if anything, it probably helped diminish that front passenger tire quickly or more quickly than it would have otherwise. So that didn't do anything for him. And again, I don't know that he's necessarily can't go anywhere right now, or he's just choosing not to. It's hard to tell.
Yeah, by now, this is the longest that we've seen him stop. So it's been a good at least 10 minutes now, and he hasn't gone anywhere. So you wonder, what's going to happen next. We've been talking about SWAT being called in. After all the orders are called out by these officers on location, they're telling him to put your hands out the window, open the door from the inside, and open the door from the outside, actually, from being inside, and then throw the keys out the window and, walk backwards towards officers showing his waistband. But if they've ordered all those things and he hasn't complied yet, I would think at this point they might be considering SWAT.
I would absolutely believe that. I think that patrol officers, there's only so much they can do. I mean, they're certainly not going to run up to the window and just drag him out. No. Not with everything that he's allegedly done and is wanted for, and the gun that's involved. I don't see that that's a world that they would do that. Now, I would say if we get into a world where maybe they see that he's fallen asleep or something like that, they could approach with a ballistic shield and maybe do it that way. I just think that there's probably a higher likelihood that they'll turn this into a Metropolitan Division, a SWAT thing, and have them come take care of it and box them in with Bearcats. They'll have chemical agents because, like I mentioned earlier, unlike the sheriff's department, some sheriff's patrol cars have pepper balls in them. They're essentially a paintball gun that shoot pepper spray balls. LAPD patrol units don't have those. Right. So their less lethal options are a taser, a 40 millimeter, a beanbag round. The 40 millimeter, the beanbag round, not going to be terribly effective in a car because there's not really what they're designed for. Certainly they could try it, especially if they wanted to break a back window to get a better look in there. That's an option, but I don't know that that's going to gain a ton of compliance from him. The same way that tear gas or something like that would certainly just draw him right out of the car.
Yeah, Micah, look at this odd behavior. He rolled up the front window, the front driver's side window. The back driver's side window is now down. He's sticking his hand outside. I don't know if he's still smoking or not. I'm not seeing smoke, but some strange behavior going on here.
There has been some erratic behavior. Mike, go ahead.
No, yeah, I mean, to your guys' point, it has been. I mean, even when he was driving, he was leaning over the passenger seating a lot, and that's also what concerned LAPD and had them increase their thought that he had a gun as well. So yeah, the whole time it's been erratic, and it's been difficult for LAPD to see. Luckily, it's better now. I see almost no smoke now, which is good. But when this was first going on, they were having a hard time seeing into the car because of the amount of smoke that was pouring out of the back of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, a person with a gun, I mean, it changes the whole operation.
Absolutely.
They are being so much more careful, as you can imagine, because you don't know what kind of behavior this person could display even after a chase like this. So they definitely, you can see them in their defensive position, but they're also thinking about what they're going to be doing next. I mean, after ordering this person to get out of the car, obviously not complying tonight, and not obeying the officer's orders there. I mean, this person is still posing a danger to the public if he possibly has a gun.
And Mike, wouldn't they want to take out the opportunity here of that rolled down window to maybe shoot some pepper balls in there and hopefully smoke the guy out?
Well, that's what we were talking about, or a little bit earlier. LAPD, the patrol units don't carry pepper ball guns.
And not all carry ballistic shields either.
Correct, yeah, and I haven't heard them even request one. So there may be one down there, but I haven't, they don't need to request it. But those patrol officers with LAPD don't generally carry any kind of chemical kind of agents like that, the pepper balls or tear gas or anything like that. So that's when your tool bag has to come from Metropolitan Division if that's what you want to do and if that's the only you want to do. Certainly, they're trying to make communication with him. The car has not been reported stolen, so if it is his car, they know who it is. There was also this woman that we don't know if they have her. From what I was listening to, it sounds like she got out because of their commands, but I don't know if they just took off and left her there when the chase started or what happened to her.
So again, they were in the same car together at the beginning of all this.
And she was driving.
She was driving, he was the passenger. So the Northeast units made a traffic stop on the car, and we don't know what the traffic stop was for, but they made a traffic stop back over at San Fernando Road and Figueroa. That's just like near the 110 and the 5, right just east of Dodger Stadium. So they made a traffic stop there, then they requested a backup. A helicopter gets overhead, and then the car takes off. And so they had talked about a female that was driving it first, and then at some point they said the passenger has jumped into the driver's seat, and then he takes off. So, but again, I don't know if one unit stayed behind and stayed with that woman who was originally driving and they're trying to get some information from her, or if everybody just bolted and went after the car. That's what we don't know. We don't know if they're able to get any information out of that woman that we think was driving to begin with.
Right. So far, you don't know whether or not she's been able to give some sort of information, what their relation is, why we're in the car, what's going on, is he really armed,
Right,
or
right.
any type of helpful information, right, Mike, that could help officers approach the car. And I'm guessing this woman would want things to end peacefully and civilly, right?
Yeah.
Versus him getting more agitated and intoxicated possibly, and creating a bigger problem for officers.
Yeah, and a lot of the process that happens during this weird standoff situation, especially if they're going to wait for SWAT or whatever, those patrol officers generally will still try to make contact with the guy. So if that woman can provide his name or some information about him, something that can help them build a rapport with him to try to continue to talk to him and get him to come out of the car and coax him out while they're waiting for SWAT, that's something they'll want to do. But again, it's unclear if they've got any of that information from her, or kind of exactly what's going on. It does sound like they just requested another unit. John, can you go back to Piedmont and Fig? Is there a crowd growing? I was just listening to them request an additional unit to that location, which they said it sounded like if you need to go outside of the division, you can. So we're just going to get kind of a wider look here of where everything. Okay, so that's Avenue 61, and here's Figueroa. Okay, so look, now that's why they wanted the other unit. They've closed Figueroa altogether. So Figueroa is now closed in both directions at Piedmont, and then Avenue 61, which is on the other side, is also closed. So in addition to this, now we've got a traffic issue as well, impact to traffic down there. Luckily, it's late at night, but there's that spike strip John's showing us at the end of Piedmont and Figueroa, and then the other end is Avenue 61 in Piedmont. And again, we're in the Highland Park area. That's Piedmont Park right there to the left. And so now they've got traffic backed up over there as well. It looks like Avenue 61 is still open, but you can tell now we're kind of taking up almost a city block here with this incident.
And Mike, I mean, this is a city park, right? It's a neighborhood. It's a Friday night. People could be out walking around. So it's,
and we did see a woman and her child walking around, and officers were actually talking to them saying, hey, we got something going on here. You're going to have to go the other way.
You need to turn around and go in the other direction, because just the volatility of all this that's going on right now. And just look how many cars are still parked there at the park. So I'm wondering if people are basically stranded right now. If you're parked along that stretch of road right there, Mike, you're not going anywhere, right? I mean, it's going to be a lockdown until they get this guy in custody.
Yeah, and you see those people in the park right there. You got that one guy taking pictures. They set up crime tape on this side to force everybody back to stay over there. Now, we had also heard during the chase that they believed that there were what they call friendlies following the car. Friendlies are somebody that they believe the suspect may know. They called that out a couple of times here. So we'll see if anybody is back there with a crime tape that may know this guy, if it's family that wants to come forward or talk. Obviously, I think their concern during the pursuit was maybe this is somebody that he's going to jump into another car, or somebody that's going to try to interfere. So that's why they were putting it out. But again, if there is somebody that knows this guy that can provide information to officers, that can't hurt. So we'll just see how it goes.
Yeah, and we're talking about possible SWAT being called in right now. When SWAT does arrive, they do make contact with the suspect. They bring in crisis negotiation officers, or crisis negotiators, as we call them. They also bring in, interestingly enough, a behavioral sciences doctor who actually assesses the psychological behavior and the condition of this suspect, based on whatever they know, whatever happened throughout this pursuit. And if that doctor deems that all of these negotiation tactics are not working, then that's when they will bring in their tactical actions.
Right. Yeah, it's going to turn into a whole new set of protocols that'll happen when Metro gets there. They're not just going to come in and blow the door down. They'll, as you mentioned, they'll try their own negotiations. CNT will try their own negotiations. Mental health experts will assess the situation, and then once those have been exhausted, then that's when we could see the gas plan come into effect. And that's what we're talking about. I mean, if that's the route this is going to go, this will be a very long night for everybody down there.
All right, very good, Mike. I believe we're going to continue. We're going to be staying with this for now here. Okay, once again, we're showing you on the right side of your screen. This was earlier tonight. A pursuit suspect basically leading police on a chase, ending in the Highland Park area here. At times the car smoking, at times the car sparking, and basically what we believe now is the car is somehow disabled because it's not going anywhere. Because I do believe if this driver could take off from here, he would. Because
he's tried so many times tonight.
He's tried so many times to get away from police. Again, look at that car smoking there on the right-hand side. Police believe this man does have a gun. And what's really interesting in this case is this guy that we're now watching here behind the steering wheel of this car was once a passenger in a car that at one point or another, when police tried to stop this car, a woman came outside. He jumped into the driver's seat and took off. So that's where we are right now. We saw that the driver did not want to stop. The car is now somewhat disabled, and police Mike, are set up a few feet behind him here.
Yeah.
Obviously, the back window is open. He can obviously hear remarks. He can hear orders, but he's clearly not following along.
Yeah, not at all. And just really quickly, I want to compare and contrast a pursuit that we had this morning that my colleague Mark Liu covered on the desk this morning. CHP was chasing a reckless driver, apparently made an illegal U-turn. That's what led to that chase. But she stops and got into a similar situation on this. CHP walked up, bashed out the back window, pepper sprayed her, and dragged her out, right? But the difference here is this person is allegedly armed. So that's where we get the differences. And so if people are wondering, well, in other pursuits, like the one this morning, we've seen them just come in and drag the guy out. Why don't they do that here? This situation, they believe that guy is armed. But it just, kind of shows you the difference between agencies. We've always known that CHP is a real kind of come in and go get him agency. LAPD has been a little bit more cautious, if you will. And again, they think this guy may have a gun.
All right, Mike, we're going to continue monitoring the situation there from the desk as well as from SkyCal. And if anything should happen within the next few minutes or so, we'll get right back to the scene there in Highland Park.